What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Jay Nog, and we are here, of course, with the President of the United States of Mar-a-Lago of America. Please welcome Mr. President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you today?
I'm doing okay. I just got a new Samsung. Look at that. Look at that Samsung sent me a phone. That's what happens, tech stuff, when you're
He's a
friends
nice
with
guy.
powerful people. He took care of my computer. Now he takes care of my phones. Obviously, when I get back into the White House, if I run, I can't say for, why. I think we're gonna have to make him sort of chief technology Asian. I think that's a role we can have in
I
our
know as a title.
administration. And by the way, not to make our listeners jealous, but guess who just got approved for Truth Social?
Who?
I'll
Not
give you a
me.
hint. I was just talking about him 12 seconds ago.
Oh, well, Samsung. Okay, I thought he was already
Samsung.
approved. I mean, I can't believe he wasn't approved yet. I'm actually shocked.
Well, he's well. The thing is, when Samsung is busy, you don't bother. You know me. I bother a lot. I get in people's faces a lot. But when a guy like Samsung, you let him take his time. It's like a coach. You got to know how to. You do coaching, don't you? One of the tech stuff people does coaching.
Yeah.
You probably do life coaching. You seem like that kind of radical left type. But real coaching, you got to know it's called knowing your personnel. And maybe you have a guy you need to be in his face. Maybe you have a guy you say, okay, let the game come to him. Samsung is a let the game come to him. You don't want to get into his face when he's doing his work. So he's doing strong tech work, a lot stronger than you, by the way. And
That's
he
hurtful.
hadn't signed, excuse me.
That was hurtful.
Oh, excuse me. Well, if I said Michael Jordan is a little bit better at basketball than you, would that be hurtful? We're talking about Samsung. We're not talking about Tom Sheba. Okay, you ever see his stuff? He does TVs and computers. Or Sonai. Sonai, another great Asian tech person, not as good.
Yes. No.
We're talking about Samsung. It shouldn't be an insult to be, they call
Okay.
him the tech goat.
Tech goat. That's what they call him.
And he finally signed up for Truth Social because he was busy. And as soon as we saw that request come in, and he uses, he's very Samuel Sung was his account name. When I saw Samuel Sung, I said, if you don't fast track this immediately, many people are getting fired and possibly murdered. And they fast tracked the crap out of Samuel Sung's account. So, Truth Social, Samsung.
Well, Mr. President, I wanted to let you know it was a pleasure speaking to your son, Barron, last week for the bonus episode.
Who?
Barron, your son, Melania's son.
Melanoma's tall assistant.
If that's what you call him, yes, her tall assistant.
Bert. I think his name's Bert.
No, it's Barron.
He went, excuse me. He walked in and I said, where's Ernie?
I think it's Barron. Barron, your son. Do you know he doesn't even have an American accent?
Why would I know that or not know that when I don't really know this person?
He said he's spoken to you a couple of times.
We wish, excuse me, we wish this person well. Okay. And, Butch, but Melania's son, Butch, we say, where's the Sundance Kid? Where's the Sundance Kid? We wish him well. We wish him good luck. We wish him good luck. We wish him talent, He has a very attractive mom, which should help him in life. But no, I don't know. People say your son, sir, and I go, no, Samsung.
Do you know he does an impression of you? It was pretty spot on.
Is it as good as the guy on SNL?
I'd say better.
Better than the SNL? Well, obviously better than Baldwin, who's Steve Bannon. What are we doing here, Steve Bannon? What an awful impression that was. But then we have the guy on SNL that talks out of the side of his mouth. He talks out of the side. He says, "Excuse me, sir, we're talking about people. We're doing computers. We're doing strong computers. We have computers and we're doing strong." And then what did Butch sound like?
It sounded like better than both of those. Just basically you with I think a Slovenian accent, basically. Going through puberty.
Puberty's tough. Puberty can be tough on a tall assistant like whatever his name is, Benjamin. I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Benedict.
I guess so. It's Baron is what I know him as. That's what he was answering to when I was talking to him.
Is that how he identifies? Is he a radical left Slovenian? He says, "I identify as Baron." Well, guess what, Benedict? The eggs are done.
Well, Mr. President, I wanted to ask you if you did anything special for Memorial Day today. We are recording our Memorial Day.
Yes, and people don't. It's sometimes I wonder about the Patreon people and the Mapigas. We don't even talk about the Mapigas with the hard R who don't review us on Apple Tunes. But on Menorah Day, as you know, Ivanka is an extremely attractive Jewish woman.
What'd you say?
Menorah Day.
Menorah Day.
On Menorah Day today, we get the day off to honor our Jewish candles. We go out, and that's why you do the barbecue, because you also can use the fire from the barbecue and then say, "Now I'm going to light these candles for the Jewish people." So I think it was a successful Menorah Day. We had many Jewish people, only the hot ones though. But you have to have a +1. Like if you're Steve Mnuchin, who's a very ugly Jewish person, he's got to bring his hot wife. So if you have a +1 that's hot, you're allowed in.
What do you barbecue for Menorah Day?
The gold coins, the Jewish gold coins. It kind of makes the grill a little messy, but it's like, yeah, who wants some hot Jewish chocolate? And then, then some black women who converted to Judaism walk in and dance, and it's a very nice tradition.
Wow, I never heard of anyone barbecuing chocolate gelt. Is there anything else that's thrown on the barbecue?
Guilty as charged. That's what we do.
That's the only thing that's thrown on the barbecue? That's the only thing that's cooked?
No, we put well, obviously he's not invited, but Mike Pence would come in with 10 pounds of bratwurst going, sir, let me throw these on the grill. I don't need a bun, sir. I'll just use my mouth and hands. But we do a sort of a traditional Menorah Day celebration where we honor all the candles and we barbecue the chocolate gold coins, and we put matzah and potato pancakes. I know all the matzo ball soup. When you pour the matzo ball soup on the grill, it gives you a nice like the soup gets right in there into the fire, and it's like almost an explosion.
So it's Hanukkah gelt and matzo ball soup that you barbecue on Menorah Day.
And matzah, of
and
course.
Matzah.
Extra crisp. I like my matzah extra Menorah Day crispy. And to be tasteful, out of respect, Ivanka wears 2 yarmulkes as pasties, because it's sort of sunny beach weather. So she puts the yarmulkes.
It is warm out.
On her two surgically enhanced stacks of potato pancakes, and then dances around to tradition. I get
You do the hora?
Oh, she's a hora.
Very emotional moment.
She's a real hora, so she definitely does the hora.
Wow, that sounds like a great day. Usually people today celebrate Memorial Day. people who served our country and when we have our freedoms, and people
It's
pay
for the, but
respect
it's
for the
no,
troops.
of course you respect, but this is the troops that died. They
Yeah,
can't vote. You know that, right?
right. No, I
I mean, maybe
understand.
they vote for Sleepy Joe and voter fraud. But no, I like Veterans Day because they're the ones who can still vote. So we have a very strong Veterans Day. But for Memorial Day, we say thank you, troops who died. Most of you probably would have voted for me because I'm a patriot, but that's okay. Now get back to dancing, Ivanka. Strong Jewish dancing.
Now, Mr. President, I wanted to ask you. I know we didn't touch on this last week. I think it happened the day we were recorded, but the tragedy of the school shooting in Texas. I think there were 19 victims, and the week after you spoke recently at an NRA, the annual convention, and you said all the victims' names except you got a lot of them wrong and you mispronounced them. And I think you were holding a weapon while you were doing this. Would you like to address this?
Well, just because my penis has raped many women, I wouldn't call it a weapon, but thank you, tech stuff.
No, I think you had a similar rifle AR-15 type weapon. I think that's what I read.
Oh, they love it. The NRA, it's called the National Rifle Association. So they have weapons.
Do you think you have to hold one as you're reading the names of victims who were killed by a firearm?
I think that might be fake news. I don't recall holding a weapon. And it's a very sad thing that happened. Because it's sad.
Do you think guns were responsible for what happened?
I think mental health. I think doors. I think media. I think fake news. I think prayer. We need more prayer in school. I think we need more.
Regulations for buying a gun a
No, I
day
think we
after
need
your
more.
18th birthday?
I think we need more school in school. We don't have enough school right now,
What do we
and
have?
we have too many doors. Not enough school. Not enough prayer. Too much fake news. And I think there we solved it. And mental health. We have to say mental health. And when you do strong mental health, you have less bad mental health, which is sometimes a problem.
You don't think there were any other things that had to do with this, like background checks for guns, how this person got a gun 2 days or a day after he turned 18, two guns, high power weapons. Also, kid talked about, I think he cut himself lots of times going to school. No mental evaluations were done on this person who committed these crimes. And I
And
know you were
that's why I'm
saying mental health
saying
before. Don't you think the mental health should be somehow put together when you're buying a gun? You're saying mental health's important. So should mental health count
very important. I think it's the
when buying a
most
gun?
important. Most important.
Okay.
Strong
So
mental health.
so don't you think you should have strong mental health to buy a gun?
I do. But
So
if you
how
don't,
come
it's
that's
okay
not,
too.
don't you think that it should be part of buying a gun? Like a check on your mental health?
I think that's going too far. I think you should just sort of,
But if there was, this wouldn't have
just,
happened.
well, what if he lied? What if he had strong lying? And, which what if his lying was even stronger than his not strong mental health? Then he would just say, "Sir, I'm fine. I have strong mental health." And they'd say, "Here you go. Here's your weapon of war.
I
Go
don't
have a
think
nice
that would
time."
happen. I think these evaluations are meant to flag certain types of behavior.
The mic flag.
So you don't think mental health? You think mental health is very important, but it shouldn't be
Very
part
important.
of
The
buying a
most
gun.
important. I think it can be optional. I think it can be. It's all the Second Amendment tech stuff. Okay, it's the Second Amendment. It's not the second
I
whatever.
understand. I
It's a sacred
understand.
amendment. It's very important. And what you have to do is you gotta do mental health. And you gotta look at the doors.
So having doors that lock and unlock meant strong mental health, there wouldn't be a problem.
All the problems would be gone. Better
Gotcha.
doors, better pizza, Papa John's.
I want to get back to this, Mr. President. Speaking of this, especially the NRA. But first, I want to talk about our awesome sponsors today. And Making Podcasts Great Again is brought to you by RebeccaSloan.com. Are there any updates with Rebecca Sloan? I know she's been in your DMs. You guys kind of, I don't know how it really ended last time. You kind of didn't blow her off, but didn't pursue. Are there any anything has gone on since last time we talked?
She went away with Mr. Sloan for their Menorah Day weekend. And you have to respect that tech stuff. Maybe you don't
Mm-hmm.
respect it, but I respect it. If you go away with your husband on Menorah Day weekend, it's called respect. So hopefully we'll resume chatting, but we have, as I've said, a very strong business relationship. And, she wrote on Truth Social. I told you we fast tracked her on Truth Social. I don't want to worry Mr. Sloan, but her relationship status, we do a relationship status on Truth Social.
Mm-hmm.
Her relationship status said it's complicated.
Uh-oh.
So, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
The other options on Truth Social for relationship are will have sex with Trump, consent optional sex with Trump, strong sex with Trump,
Or it's
want to be
complicated.
in a relationship with Trump, and it's complicated. So she chose it's complicated of those options. I respect that, but I think that's bad news for Mr. Sloan. But I said let them, she might be breaking up with him over Menorah Day weekend, knowing what a sacred time it is for Ivanka and I.
Well, I want to send all our listeners over to RebeccaSloan.com for the highest quality sterling silver jewelry, Mother's Day gifts, and birthday presents. I've gone on RebeccaSloan.com, and everyone's like, this is too much. You don't have to spend this much money, and it's all affordable. It's always free shipping, and use coupon code Ivanka for a 20% discount. That's RebeccaSloan.com. Gifts for your loved ones, all high quality sterling silver jewelry. It's RebeccaSloane.com, and use coupon code Ivanka for a 20% discount. It's always free shipping. RebeccaSloan.com. And if you have not joined the Patreon yet, that is your loss. Get on board. Patreon.com/MPGA. You can hear the most recent bonus episode with Barron Trump, a half-an-hour interview with Barron Trump. Also, you have movie reviews on there, special guests, plus the monthly live Q&A, plus monthly videos. So there is so much bonus content on the Patreon. Sign up to be a perfect 10. It's patreon.com/MPGA. Now back to the show. Now, Mr. President, NRA now.
By the way, you would take somebody named Barron Trump. I don't know who that is. Just tried to sign up for Truth Social. Guess what? Rejected.
Rejection. Now NRA guns should be tight security there, right? Doors, right? Doors should be locked, right?
It was
Strong mental health, right?
Excuse me. Great security.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, The security was so great, they didn't even allow guns inside. How about that? How about that?
Now,
Tiffany doesn't like that, by the way. Tiffany is not a fan of banning guns.
well, a journalist by the name of Laura Windor walked right into the NRA convention through an unlocked door. And she's talking how bad the security is for a gun convention with very powerful people there. And she kind of walked right in. What are your thoughts on this lax security? You mentioned doors before as a key part of gun control. I'd like to hear what are your thoughts on the doors and the mental health there at the NRA convention?
Uh, Oliver Stone is a very radical left crazy person, so I didn't like The Doors at all. I thought it was a very
Okay.
weak movie, and I thought the band was very overrated. As far as security, I thought it was a test, tech stuff. It's like you don't even know security. It's like you do tech stuff, you're not security stuff. No, it was a test, and this woman passed it because what she doesn't know is we had over 20 members of the Mountain Dew Army
Mm.
ready to beat the shit out of her. They didn't because we're gentlemen. They were ready. So no, the security was incredibly strong.
So they let her in knowing that she was a journalist. Is that what you're saying?
No, they just saw a woman by herself, and the instincts of the Mountain Dew Army are: if you see a woman by herself, attack.
But she
It's
wasn't
day one.
attacked.
No, because we specifically said stand down.
Mm,
You didn't ask about that part. You didn't ask
I
about the
didn't.
stand down or the
I should
stand in the
have.
place where you are. Okay. So they stood down. But day one of training of the Mountain Dew Army is: if you see a woman walking by herself, attack.
That's like the first rule.
It's not a rule. It's called training.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So not worried about the security at the NRA convention
What
and
was that?
this and this school shooting. Nothing to worry about. Just
Oh, we
poor
have
mental
to. We have
health.
to. No, you have to do. Well, okay. You have to do prayers, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have to do mental health, and then you have to do doors, and then we'll see a whole different future. And it's a very sad thing. It's what's most sad is how the Democrats are turning this into politics. It's so sad. This shouldn't be
Very sad.
politics. We should all agree that tragedies are sad, and then we move on with no solutions, because that would be politics.
Okay.
Solutions are politics. Okay, it's a very simple thing. If you're trying to
Okay.
solve something, you're doing politics.
So when things are there's never a solution, it's always politics.
Almost always. I would say almost always.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally, you have things like strong tax cuts for the wealthy. That's a solution. That's okay.
Okay.
But if it's climate change, it's politics. If it's guns, it's very strong politics, and it shouldn't be politics at a tragedy. And I think it's disgusting that you even asked.
My apologies. I do want to ask you about
Excuse
your
me.
yes.
Excuse me. Not accepted.
Waiting for you to accept one of my apologies. Now, Mr. President, you've endorsed a lot of candidates in the primaries, and a lot of the people that you have endorsed have lost. Have you lost your power? Have you lost your influence? Have why is this? Can you please answer some questions?
Well, if you ask a question that isn't totally stupid and radical left, I'll answer it very quickly. None of my endorsements have lost. All my endorsements have won. Perfect record.
but I can pull up the primaries right now if you want to go through the candidates who you endorsed and they've lost. Why are people who you endorsed losing?
because they're
Are you
not.
endorsing the
I'm
wrong
saying
people?
I endorsed winners and they won. How about that? You see how that works? Tech stuff. I endorse winners and then they win. And then fake news tech stuff. People say, "Sure, what about this person, sir? You endorse?" No, you know, every single person I endorsed won, and they won big league.
I'm going to check on this.
Da, 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 da,
I got it
da,
right here.
da, da. Oh, excuse
So
me. I'm ready with my answer. Blossom, or the black guy from Star Trek, whoever the hell is hosting Jeopardy.
okay. So you please tell me how Senator Doug Mastriano did.
Menstruation. He's governor.
Mastriano.
I endorsed him for governor, and he's running, and he won the governor primary in Pennsylvania. Win.
How about Ted Budd?
What about Airbud? Nobody's talking about Airbud. I endorsed Airbud very strongly, and he got many sequels. Next.
How about in Idaho, Janice McKeechin lost to Brad Little?
Well, you know what? I would never endorse a woman in a state named after Hose. So that's obviously fake news.
Well, it says right
Idaho.
here.
That's what she, excuse me, that's what she said. She said Idaho. And I said, well, I'm not endorsing you, you hoe.
Are you excited that Rand Paul won?
Oh. Is he related to Logan Paul and Jake Paul? Is
I,
he
I don't.
box?
I don't think he's part of the Paul brothers.
Oh, we're trying to get them on Truth Social.
What do you think the odds of them coming on?
Get on betonline.ag and find out.
Now, Mr. President, a couple more news stories I want to talk to you about. The movie 2000 Mules. Are you familiar with this movie?
Yes, it was, I believe it was about Roger Stone's wife's first trip to Mexico.
I don't think so. I think it's about the voter fraud, and it's actually
Oh,
spun
from,
in your favor.
oh, well, sure. It's from the great filmmaker M. Night David Koresh D'Souza. David Koresh D'Souza.
Um, have you seen the movie? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I can tell you, dishwasher detergent is a very strong filmmaker.
Can you tell us about the film, though?
David Koresh D'Souza has made many strong conservative films. In fact, he has a perfect rating on Rotten Tomatoes, not Rotten Oranges, but Rotten Tomatoes. Every
Mhm.
film he has gotten the most perfect score ever. All his movies have 0% because they were saying we have 0% error. Not a single error was made in these films. So he did 2000 Mules about
Oh,
the
I've heard of
election
this
and right
director. He's got great Rotten Tomato scores. I know who you're talking about. This
right.
guy.
And his dishwasher detergent is one of the finest filmmakers we have. Very conservative, which is why the mainstream media doesn't like him. But 2000 Mules was about how Roger Stone threw a very nice party in Mexico. Okay. And as his wife down there, and he's so generous, Roger Stone. I'd be so mad if I were Roger Stone. So all these young men come down to Mexico and they line up and uh, they all had to be riding a mule, which is where you get the 2000 mules. And then each one double teamed Roger Stone's wife. So the mule was going, "Nrr," and the man,
So
the
the
young
man
man
and
on
the
top.
mule take Roger Stone's
So it's
wife.
really he tested that the original title was 2000 Mules and 2000 Men, of mules and men, but they thought that was too close to of mice and men. So they just went with 2000 mules. And what happened was Roger Stone was very generous, and his wife is a real trooper. But it turned out you would expect men coming to a Roger Stone party. Excuse me. They're going there to have bestiality sex with a strong, patriotic Cuban American woman. You would expect these people to be high class individuals. Very nice, very moral, very patriotic people. It turns out some of the men who came down to have bestiality threesomes with Roger Stone's wife were not great people.
I don't buy it.
It was, I mean, Roger Stone, you've never seen a guy look so betrayed. He was like, I can't believe I invite these men and their mules to have 4 weeks consecutive intercourse with my wife without a break. She had an IV of water and saline solution hooked up so that she wouldn't miss any time. And it turns out these people were not great people. So what it turned out is some of these men were also stealing ballots and stuffing. They should have been stuffing Roger Stone's wife, but then some of them were stuffing ballots instead, which is unforgivable. When a man
Extremely.
invites you to double team his wife with a mule, and you choose not to stuff her, but instead stuff ballots illegally, you're the worst of the worst. And that's what dishwasher detergent David Koresh D'Souza was showing with his great film 2000 Mules, available now to stream on Truth Social.
I can't wait to see that. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, there is a sequel. I think the first time in 35 years the sequel has come out. It's Top Gun 2. Tom Cruise is in it. Have you seen it? Do you want to see it? What are your thoughts on this film?
Yeah. You know who wants to see this movie very strongly? He said,
Mike
"Sir."
Pence.
Oh yeah, he said
I think you're not
Navy.
talking to him.
No, but excuse me. He talks very loud and Christian, and we can hear him when he's yelling. And he said, "Oh wow, Navy seaman, Mavdick, can't wait." So I think it's a great sign. It's a great sign that Tom Cruise is one of our great movie people, and I think it's a great thing because it's patriotic. It's America. It's military. Obviously, notice on all the planes, one door. You don't see 20 doors on every plane, do you? No, he gets
No,
into one door.
there's
He
actually,
gets
I
right
think,
in
two doors probably.
yeah, well, three doors down, and he gets into the cockpit, and he gets in that engine, and he just goes vroom vroom, and it's very strong and patriotic and military, pro Second Amendment, pro troops, pro Truth Social. So it's a great message behind the movie.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I want to check it out. It's got good reviews so far. Mr. President, I appreciate you. Yes.
You never close your eyes when I force myself upon you.
That's
It's
a new
like you
soundtrack.
don't care if I don't ask for consent. I'm trying hard to stay hard, baby. But baby, I just farted. Anyway, we're working on the lyrics.
uh,
Remake.
they
They want me
sound
to
they're
be
coming
on
along good.
Dinesh Devusa. Dinesh Medusa is doing a sequel called MAGA Top Gun 3
Mm.
Trump. And so I have to work on the You've Lost That Rapey Feeling, which is going to be sort of the strong theme song.
I could see that winning some sort of award for best soundtrack.
From your mouth to Trump's ears.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us again. Next week, we will see you for Pride Month. It's Pride Month. I'm sure you're very excited for Pride Month. We're going to have questions coming in. That's right, doing the Pence dance. For the best sterling silver jewelry, go to RebeccaSloan.com, use coupon code Ivanka, and it's always free shipping. And if you haven't jumped on yet, you are missing out. Get on the Patreon, patreon.com/MPGA. Bonus episodes, live Q&As,
Incredible
videos,
Patreon
special
content
guests.
last month. I mean,
Yes.
if anybody's been on the fence, we say this all the time, but I don't understand the Patreon content. And if you've been freeloading for 2 years, it's okay. But now you could be like, oh, as a thank you, I want to join the Patreon for a couple of months because I've gotten all this free stuff. And I hear the bonus stuff is, I don't even think people understand if they like this. The bonus stuff is this podcast is an A+, and the bonus stuff is an A+.
Plus.
No, that was too many pluses. Take one plus away,
So
please.
I minus my plus. So that's
Well, now it sounds
patreon.com.
like we have an A-. Now it sounds like the show is an A- because you
No,
threw a
no.
minus in there.
No, it's still a plus.
Oh, it's 2 pluses. You tried to throw a third plus, and it was 2 pluses, and then you said
right.
minus, and you're confusing the people who want to join the Patreon.
It's only 2
that are saying,
pluses.
"Well,
It's only 2 pluses.
thank you."
No problem.
There you go. 9th time's the charm with the tech stuff.
It's patreon.com/MPGA. Also, I got some dates coming up. They're being put on the
I
calendar.
thought you were married. I'm very proud of you, tech stuff. I thought you were a married man, but look at you with dates. Okay,
stand-up
finally,
dates.
tech stuff I can respect.
Right now, the most closest date, June 14th. It's going to be in Stamford, Connecticut, at the Connecticut Cigar Company, 7:30 p.m. show. So that's all I have right now. Definitely a lot of things in the air, but dates will be announced soon. And if you haven't checked out my special yet, please check it out. It's on cable on demand, video on demand there, YouTube, Vimeo, Amazon, it's iTunes, Truth Social. It's something from nothing. Check it out. Part documentary, part stand-up special. So take a look at that. And that's all I got right now. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Check out the Patreon. It's unbelievable content. They love the content. Hello, everybody. It's me. It's JL. I was here the whole time. Only dates to report to if you're still listening. July 15th, City Winery in Boston. Ticket link is on my website. 2 shows, 7 p.m., 10 p.m. Go to at least one. Feel free to go to both. On top of that, I'm this month, the month of June, I will figure out when my special will be ready. If you've followed the saga of that special, you know that it is, I'm just not happy with the overall process, but I am happy with the comedy. So hopefully we can get that out by maybe July, but hopefully the summer. Beyond that, check out my other podcast, Righteous PK Podcast, my other Patreon. Everything is on jlcomedy.com. So just go over there if you're bored and if you're actually still listening to this. So other than that, we appreciate you listening, and God help us all.